It's been a really long journey. Yes, so the cause of my deafness is Meniere's disease, and that first attack was when I was 23 years of age. So with the Meniere's attacks, my hearing was declined with each attack. So by the time I was about 1992, my ENT specialist here in Brisbane said it is time for you to go and see an ENT specialist that specialises in cochlear. At that stage I was already profoundly deaf in my right side, and I could only be fitted with a hearing aid on my left side, which at the stage I used to call it my most loyal friend. Yeah, because it brought me back that I could understand hearing again. That hearing ended up faltering. My friendship with that with the hearing aid faltered. I could not understand speech anymore. So that was when we had to look further for what else could I have. So my whole journey has been with Attune. Yeah, so basically, yes, I used to call my hearing aids my most loyal friend, and you know, I couldn't live without them. I just love my hearing aids for coping, keeping my individuality and living in the world of sound. But then it came to about 2005, I could see that this friend wasn't working as well for me anymore. I could hear, but I had no speech discrimination. So I used to keep telling everybody, don't yell at me, I can hear, but it was all just a garbled sound towards the end. So then I was advised to go to a different specialist who specialises in cochlear implants. And so then my journey started with Attune with the cochlear implant. So 2006 basically was when that all happened. I am a bilateral cochlear recipient, yeah, so I had my first one done in 2006 and my second one in 2007. So yes, whilst it has brought me back into the world of hearing, I do acknowledge that I am still a deaf person, and I'll always be a deaf person, but I now have choices to be in the world of hearing. Yeah, so I can take my processors off and I live in a world of silence, and I can put them on and I can join the world. When I had no speech discrimination left, so basically I wasn't being able to understand the spoken word at all, I was desperate. Yeah, so basically it wasn't a decision, should I or shouldn't I, it was basically what can I do to get back into the world of sound. Basically the hearing aid, it could only amplify the pitches that were still able to be picked up. Yeah, so when I had my cochlear implant and the switch on, it was just amazing to be able to have all those pitches again. I understood speech immediately, so it was just so wonderful to be able to hear the spoken word again, just how I remembered it. Basically, everything you read, all the communication, you really think you may be going to hear Mickey Mouse or Donald Duck or something like this, robotic. So that's what I was expecting to hear everybody to be. So for me, the outcome was incredible because I could understand speech just how I remembered my husband's voice, how I remembered my family's voices. So I didn't have any robotic, no bubbles or anything like that. Yeah, so everything you could read, all those possibilities were there. And yeah, so but for me, I could understand the spoken word immediately. Went switch on, my audiologist Karen, she talks 10 to the dozen, you know, flat out, and I'm thinking, oh, this is just wonderful. I can understand everything she's saying to me. And then I can remember, you know, Karen said to me, well, what do you think, Glenda? And when I heard my my voice for the first time, I thought, oh my goodness, is that what everyone has been listening to all this time? My own voice just sounded terrible. Yeah, going out into the traffic was just, well, you'd have to say probably overwhelming because I hadn't heard traffic The way it was particularly here at Wickham Terrace, you know, walking out to that. Yeah, there's many first sounds, you know, birds, everything was just continually saying, what's that noise? What's that noise? The tap dripping, all these things I never heard for so long. For me, it was just absolutely amazing. It's probably hard to put this into words. From being a recluse, basically, I've got an extrovert personality, but I had basically gone into recluse because I needed support everywhere to hear everything, to be able to reclaim my life and be an independent again and be able to talk to everyone again was just incredible. Hearing loss is probably, I'd have to say, a disability that's hard for everybody to understand because we look normal. You know, what does a deaf person look like? You know, we're just normal, so yeah, it was just so difficult not being able to converse in the family unit and all the time telling people, oh, I'm not ignorant, sorry, I'm deaf, if I had to go shopping by myself, because I could see people just looking at you, waiting for a reply, and I wasn't hearing what they had to say. So losing independence was probably the biggest impact on my life, you know, having to depend on people. So basically, it was a gradual journey, and because I was with audiologists and having my tests annually and everything, it was a gradual acceptance. Yes, things are getting worse, yes, and getting fed information every time I came down, yeah. With my first implant, I never even considered that. I just, as I said, I just wanted to get back and be able to hear again. So no, I didn't. With any operation, there's always a risk, but I kept looking at what I had to gain in my life, my independence and everything. So I tried to be positive and look at what I had to gain. So basically with the telephone, before I had the implants, I couldn't use the telephone at all because obviously you can't use any visual cues with a telephone. As I said, I could hear noises on the end of the telephone, but I couldn't understand what anyone was saying to me. Now I can use the telephone, both ears. I can choose which one I would like to put the telephone on. I do still have a little bit of a issue with some male deep voices and sometimes with a foreign accent that my brain wouldn't have known beforehand. But I would say 95% of the time I can do anything on the telephone. I do use the Bluetooth for the phone, which is absolutely amazing. When I'm driving to work, I can talk to people and things like that. Yeah, we live about half an hour out of Mackay, the city, so yeah, so a lot of phone calls are done in the car. I do use the aqua accessories for swimming, but that is about all I use as far as accessories, because the phone, I'm just using the phone like normal, and I'm using the TV just like normal, yeah. So basically they're the two accessories that I just get so much benefit from. There's not a lot of maintenance. When I go to bed at night, my processor goes to bed also in its dry aid kit, and the batteries, they just get clicked onto their charging unit. So that's a daily basis, that's what happens. The microphone protectors have to be changed every couple of months just so that the hearing comes through very clearly through the microphones. For me, from my experience, maintenance-wise, it is just so easy. It's a journey that each person has to do a lot of homework themselves. For me, because I was so deaf, I had nothing to lose. So, but other people, particularly now how Cochlear has advanced, they are doing it when people have more residual hearing. So my advice is that, from my experience, just go for it. You've got nothing to lose. Yeah, it's just been life-changing. Yeah, got to have a bit of tenacity, a bit of determination to go through the rehabilitation and to get out into the world of noise just so that you can have the best outcomes. But yeah, so I keep telling people you've got to have that tenacity, you've got to have that determination. Do whatever your audiologist says and you will have the best outcome for your situation. It is wonderful with all the aqua accessories that I can go swimming and mix in with everybody and hear what's being said. So that is one situation that is really just amazing. Just to be able to just be out in the environment and just being able to mix in like what you would call a normal person is just incredible. At that stage, because I had my first one in 2006, and it was just incredible to be in that world of hearing again. I was so happy for it, you know, and I was for so many years, I only had hearing on one side, so it was incredible. You know, to me, it was just how I remembered life. At that stage, I was working in a school setting where I was in the school classrooms, school offices, so the environment was extremely noisy with voices and noise coming from all angles. I knew that there was still a deaf side to me, you know, that people still had to get my attention on my deaf side if I was going to hear the whole picture. So around that time, probably I was sharing that with Karen, my audiologist, and so she was telling me all the pros and cons of what research was available with a bilateral implant. I gave it a lot of thought and I thought, yes, I've got the tenacity and determination to go through all this. I thought it'd be a long, windy road because this ear was profoundly deaf for over 20 years. So I knew rehabilitation could have been a long, windy road, but I also knew I had the tenacity, the determination. I knew what to expect with rehabilitation. I also knew I had a supportive husband and an amazing family network that were there to help me with this journey. When I was first implanted on my second side, I didn't wear my left processor for a few weeks to try and give the rehabilitation on my right one the best opportunity that I could. I can remember coming down for around about the 3 months mapping session, and Karen did the hearing tests on my new right side by itself and then bilateral, and I was hearing about 30% better bilateral in a very noisy environment. So that was just evidence why I was hearing so well, being the bilateral. Yeah, basically I use a behind the ear processor, so it just hooks over my ear and the magnet on the transmitter just hooks onto the internal magnet. Yeah, so it's very easy. I just put them on and off as quick as anything. Emotionally, it's just absolutely amazing. You know, I'm an extrovert, so I go off myself now. I go and do anything. I'm actually a practice manager for my son's business, so I actually do a lot of talks for Cochlear now. So basically it's probably made me stretch and strengthen muscles that I would never have used before, you know. It's just made such a difference in my life that if I can help someone else along this world, journey to get them back into the hearing world, I just feel that's something I can offer as gratitude of giving thanks to this wonderful Australian invention. I have so many people to give thanks to. Dr. Bell-Ellen was just absolutely amazing. My local GP at home, Dr. John McIntosh at Ambrose, he was just phenomenal because he did the whole journey with me from, you know, when I had the Meniere's all the way through, still seeing me to this day. Karen Pedley here at Attune, she's just amazing. Yeah, so all of these devices are only as good as the mechanic behind them. We do have to give thanks for the Australian invention. My husband, he has just been so patient, so wonderful through this whole journey with me.